Welcome to Coruzant Technologies, home of the Digital Executive podcast.
Welcome to the Digital Executive. Today's guest is Liran Bar. Liran Bar serves as the Vice President of Business Development at Hailo, bringing with him 2 decades of experience in the semiconductor industry. His deep technical knowledge in computer vision and artificial intelligence prepared him for his leading role in the design and launch of Hailo's deep learning processor. Prior to this, he served in senior positions at several multinational companies. His last role was Director of Product Marketing at CEVA, licensor of Vision DSP and AI cores. Liran holds a BSc in Electrical and Computer Engineering from Ben Gurion. Well, good afternoon, Liran. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Brian, and for hosting me today.
Awesome. I appreciate it. And both of us in 2 sides of the world right now, recording a podcast, which is always fun, but I appreciate you jumping on. And Liran, we're going to jump right into the questions here. And we want to talk a little bit about your career at first here. You know, you've got the career, you started out in technology, product management, and now you're the Vice President of Business Development at Hailo. Could you share with our audience the secret to your career growth and what inspires you?
Yeah, it's a very good question, Brian. And usually, I will not give my age right now, but I have 2 decades of experience in the imaging industry. I did my studies, the BSc in engineering. And basically, I can say that I give advice for young people from university that are finishing. And they ask about their job career, what they need to do, kind of. So I started from the bottom, and I worked at a large company doing DSP. I was intrigued by the vision-based application. So I worked at kind of embedded engineer, and then moved to another company, also doing multimedia chips, and then camera sensors, a company that was sold to Samsung, and later on a company that was sold to a US company. But what I give them motivation is to learn the basic, because you can jump to a business development or marketing roles, but you need to have the basic, the foundation of all this knowledge from software, from hardware, embedded hardware, and such. So you will have a lot of knowledge that will help you later on to establish a wide range of knowledge that will help you to do this kind of role of marketing or business development. That depends also on the skills of the person. There are engineers that would like to do, they will be given a certain task to do, and that is fine, and they don't want to be a manager. And what I found very quickly that I like to see the wider picture. And from engineering role, I did a FAE and then a product manager and so on. And then one big aspect of that one is the engagement with customers, to understand what they really want, what is their pain point, and to bring this information back to the company to make sure that we are developing the right product on that one. So this is kind of nutshell my take on that one.
Great. I appreciate that. That's a great share. And I like how you transitioned throughout your career and, where you initially went to school. So I appreciate the share. I know others will appreciate that as well. So Liran, as you know, everybody globally, we talked about this just prior to getting onto the podcast about these major shifts and adapting to this new normal. Could you share with us what you're doing to help your company stay relevant in this economy?
Yeah, it's a very challenging. So I can tell you specifically about Hailo, what we are doing. So when the COVID-19 started, I was in Japan. Basically, most of my time I spent outside of Israel. So on the last minute, I was able to go out from Japan. So this was my last face-to-face meeting with a Japanese customer. And you know how we went, right? With the tie and suits and everything. Everything is formalized and so on and so on. And the main challenge is how to continue the business. And many, let's not forget, Hailo is a startup. And the challenge is how to continue the business growing. Luckily for us, we completed the round B funding of additional $60 million, total $88 million from different companies before the COVID-19 situation started. So definitely this helps you to have a runway in terms of burn rate. So this is on that aspect. I just had a call with another company in Israel, startup, and they delayed their funding, for example, on the COVID-19. So they had to unfortunately, they had to shut down because they were not able to raise money. But that was at the beginning of in March last year. Now, the big challenge is how to continue and to do the business. So we all know that we had to adjust first how to make people work from home. This is not something that you might say at the beginning, oh, if people will work from home, they will not be that productive. But guess what? Companies adjusted to that one. And so is Hailo. And we quickly gave all the employee all the necessary equipment that they have. We are finding a way how to communicate it internally. This is very important, both to align on the different working and also externally with customer. We have more and more, different Zoom, Team, and all kind of WebEx and all kind of systems that we are using. And we are able to do that one. And basically, I started with Japan, and today I'm doing a Zoom conference from home, at my home. And on the other end, we have a Japanese customer that is sitting in his home, and we are having a video conference each another. So who would imagine that this would be possible this year? So this is kind of the extreme to go from the official one to the unofficial. But it's working. I assume that eventually the world will come back to some kind of normality. But some of the good things that the COVID-19 brought, if we can say, is the fact that we can still have this kind of efficient meeting and still make business.
Great. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate your unique story and how you and your company had to shift being a startup and trying to run lean. So I appreciate the share on that. So Liran, this is really a technology platform, and we want to focus on the emerging technologies. I know that your company is obviously leveraging some of those new technologies. Anything you might be able to share with our audience?
Yes, I'll be happy to do that. So Hailo is a startup that actually we developed a very unique AI inference processor for edge devices. So some of the audience probably already familiar with all kind of acronym like machine learning, AI, deep learning, and those kind of words. Basically, this is the next generation of technology to mimic the human brain to make actions or to make a decision. It's only at the beginning of that one. And what we see more and more requirement to have this kind of processing on the edge device. Today, we do have every image that you upload to Facebook or Google is uploaded to a data center, and it's been analyzed. We know who is the person, or on the other aspect, it can be also an audio, so on. But there is a challenge to do that on the cloud because it's very expensive. You pay per hour. And also all your data is actually transmitted to the cloud. So there is a big issue of privacy. For example, in Europe, they were the first one to do the constraints of what we call GDPR. So privacy is very important. And there are many aspects of critical mission tasks like autonomous driving. And you see in Tesla, some of the functionality is being done. But you cannot rely to do all this kind of processing on the cloud because where in places you don't have connectivity or coverage by the networks. So you do want to make the AI processing on the edge device. And here you have a different challenges because the devices are operated on battery. They have a small footprint and the tasks are very large. So what we were able to do at Hailo is to develop this kind of unique AI device that is very, very small, with a very special ingredients in terms of the technology. I will not go into all the details, but usually when we are talking about ASIC, usually you have an external memory. In our case, we do not need external memory. So it means that all the processing is being done on the Hailo AI processor, which brings a very high performance in terms of how many frames per second we are able to process a video stream on one hand. On the other hand, if you go to a different company like Amazon Go, a single Amazon Go, just for FYI, includes around 300 cameras in the store. So instead of attaching a processor for each one of those cameras, you can use the Hailo 8 to run multiple cameras. Of course, it's depending on the resolution and so on, but this is a very cost-effective. So this is what we bring to the table, the hardware, but we have here at Hailo a very large team of software that enables the customer eventually to take their networks or the application and to run them very efficiently on the Hailo device. So this is kind of a really complete approach that we are taking to help our customer to leverage and to have a very unique solution in a very fast time to market to the market.
Liran, thank you for sharing that. I know a lot of people listening to this podcast to understand more about the technology that is coming out today. So again, most appreciated. Liran, last question. If you could briefly share something from your career experience that might be helpful for those that are in technology or leadership.
Yeah, so my takeaway on that one is take it slowly. Take it slowly and build the foundation of your knowledge. Yes, it's very easy to go from one career to one company to another one. I was working in the Valley as well. And it's very easy to be temptation by the salary and other things. But this is good for the short run. For the long run, the ability to have this kind of knowledge and expertise, from my experience, I was working with one of the first company that worked with the CMOS sensors that was sold to Samsung. Later on with ISPs, camera modules, optics, software, you name it, gives me eventually the position to challenge. And when you go to different companies, to be able to put yourself in a position to apply to different roles in product marketing, as you mentioned, which is a very unique position because product marketing is, if you like to go to customer facing, for example, you need to start with a FAE, product management, and then to get knowledge. This is not something that you learn in university, how to react to customer demand and situation. You need to learn that one. And the best way to learn is to be next to those that can teach you. So go to places where you can learn, always learn. And don't say, I know everything. This is very important to get this kind of knowledge and build this basic infrastructure. So this will enable you later on to apply for different jobs because you have advantage versus others on that one. And the most important part is to be professional. Stay and stick to the fact, what I call, but be a professional in what you are doing because the colleagues that you're working right now today will probably and might be your next employer. So take it into account that people will always would like to hire someone that they know to get a reference versus someone that applies in CV, for example. So this is something that the young people, I think they put less effort or they really understand what does it mean. So basically, that's my takeaway on that one.
Great. Thank you for sharing that, Liran. That's great insight. It's great insight for our guests and also our younger guests on the show, or audience, I would rather say. So, right. Liran, it was a pleasure having you on today. I look forward to speaking with you real soon.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Brian. Thank you for today.
Bye for now.